on our plan giving advisory council. He's a great partner to Summit Pacific Medical Center. And so with veterans, right? So please welcome Mike Mueller, the owner of Mueller Financial, and what are all the other financial names that are coming?
Oh, good.
Help me out.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Mike Mueller, Mueller Insurance and Financial Services. I want to say welcome to everyone that's tuning in online as well, that'll watch this later. We're going to walk through some riveting content today, but it's actually pretty crucial material. And it drives a lot of the passion of what I do, because I know that oftentimes just a few little planning measures can make a world of difference for people, whether it's on the Medicare side, Social Security planning, retirement planning in itself. So I want to walk through several different areas today, but just to set the stage, I definitely would encourage, as I walk through this, keep this interactive. We're a small group. You're going to have thoughts, questions come up, and I would love to keep this material relevant to your questions, what you're thinking about. So if it's something I'm about to cover, I'll tell you, let me cover that in a minute, but otherwise, we'll just go there, okay? So before we get started, let's just take a quick survey. How many of you are seriously confident about how Social Security and Medicare is for the future? Okay. So I'm assuming with the hand, but it's also one of those things that people tend to, they'll get fearful about it, they'll get concerned about it, and they get kind of negative about it. But at the end of the day, these are two really important programs where these were founded in 1935. Okay, so we're not far from 100 years of this keeping going. And a lot of people will comment to me, I don't think it's going to be around when I retire. But it would require a politician to kill Medicare and Social Security. And that would mean they wouldn't get reelected. So let's just think through that dichotomy. I think that it's still going to be an active part of our retirement planning for a while, unless there are some really drastic changes. And if so, we'll be prepared to help people adjust that. So let's just start today's seminar by looking at how retirement has been changing. Okay, I'm going to hit 6 different areas during this presentation of what's different about retirement planning. Social Security and Medicare, we'll talk about each of them, the framework issues, proposed changes that are coming up, Medicare insurance, your HMOs, Medicare Advantage plans. Also going to talk about identity protection, okay, the importance of that, and then a couple of just basic retirement planning strategies. And then we'll talk about next steps after that. Also want to introduce my son, Zeke Mueller. Zeke heads up really the insurance side of our agency now. And he'll be chiming in at times, because when it comes to Medicare and Medicare Advantage plans, things like that, he is our go-to person for the health insurance piece. Now, let's talk about what's changed so far about retirement planning. I was reading this article and it was talking about the golden years. There was a phrase that was coined for marketing. Shout out to marketing. Back in the 60s, somebody in marketing coined that phrase because they were selling memberships to a golf course in Arizona. And it's not, they were nationwide, and it's just there, you know, but in the late 40s, some really negative economists were talking about retirement. The definition of retirement is you're too old to work and too young to die. And we'll talk about that in a minute, because when Social Security first was established, the average life expectancy was 61. Okay. Now, which of those aspects of retirement, either the golden years or, yeah, how your retirement looks really depends on the plan. Depends on what you set up, and we have to plan to live longer. Plain and simple. When I'm doing financial planning for a client, we are using age 99 for their plan, because I'm like, hey, when you're 92, I'm not sending you back to work. So we're going to make these numbers work. But people are living longer. We have to just keep that in mind. And the key thing about the planning, there's 3 words that are up there. Initiative. Okay. No longer is retirement planning a default. In my dad's generation, you just work for a big company, you get a gold watch and a pension and Social Security, and you're good. Nowadays, no. It's you and I individually, we have to take the initiative and make sure things are in place, and some foresight and some planning. There's a lot of math involved. And fortunately now, I use software. Because the days of my yellow pad and calculator, fortunately, are in the past.
Now we can see it.
Yeah, now we can see it. So let's just start by talking about Social Security, some of the key things here. Currently, there's about 66 million Americans that are collecting Social Security benefits of some kind. Okay? And as of June last year, 88% of those were 65 or older. The average Social Security payment, you'll see here, was $16.59 a month. This last year, there was about an 8% increase to the Social Security payout. So we went up on average $100, $150 a month. People got a raise. But just to put that in perspective, if you just take the 1659 number times the 66 million, that's $106 billion a month that's going out to Social Security. Exactly. And then once you hit 12 months, that's over $1 trillion. So there's a reason why people have concern. So it's like, how long can we sustain this? And I'll talk more about that. 2035 is what they're projecting right now. Sustainable. But with this in mind, I want to introduce this thought process, because I've had people complain that, oh my word, they expect me to survive on this much money, and all I have is Social Security. Well, no. Literally, when Social Security was first established, it was designed to be 1/3 of your retirement needs. It was never designed to be more than 1/3. And if you look at a number like the 1659 and multiply it by 3, well, that's closer to 6,000 a month. But where are the other 2 coming from? And the other 2, like I said, in previous generations, it was more common to have pensions. Okay? And you still have some of that with some government entities and whatnot, but it was pensions, Social Security, and then your savings. Those were the 3 buckets. And just kind of some simple math on that. To create $16.59 a month, you need about $250,000 in savings for that other third. You know, or you need X number of years in an environment where you have a pension. If you don't have a pension, then just double that. 700,000 would create the other 2/3. So it's just starting to understand some of the things so we can take initiative, so we can do some planning, so that the government doesn't sneak up on us. Okay? Now, here's some of the basics of how Social Security works. It's funded by mandatory contributions. If you work and you're a taxpayer, you're paying into Social Security. Period. From both workers and their employers. And what happens is, it's a percentage. The total percentage is 7.65% of your income goes to paying Social Security and Medicare. 6.2% of it is Social Security. The other 1.45 is Medicare. Now, just a little side note, the basic qualification to receive Medicare in retirement is you need to have 40 quarters of employment that you paid in a Medicare payment, which means 10 years of having paid FICA tax, if you will. And then, but if you are married and let's say the one spouse doesn't have that many years, but the other does, because they're going to qualify that way. So there's different things out there, but just know that there are some qualifications. Medicare is something that is an entitlement once you've achieved this certain thing. Now, you can start receiving Social Security if you have the 40 quarters in the 10 years of work as early as age 62. That is literally the most common age that people start claiming on. It's not always the smartest age to start claiming on it. And the main reason for that is every year that you don't claim Social Security, your benefit, your monthly benefit for the rest of your life is 8% higher. So just simple math, if your Social Security benefit was $1,000 a month at age 62, if I wait 1 year, it'll be $1,080 for the rest of my life. When that issue, I mean, it's just an 8% increase for every year you wait. Now, what we've already seen is it's called the full retirement age for Social Security to get your full benefit is now if you were born before 1955. Now it's age 66. If you're born after 1955 or after 1959, your full retirement age is 67. Okay? But again, if you defer, if you say, well, I think I'm going to keep working. I don't want to claim right now. I want to get that more, the bigger benefit. Okay, you can defer and then you get a higher payout. At my age 70, they're going to start paying you regardless. Age 70 is as high as it will grow. So it's always a question of, do I claim at 62? Do I wait till 70? When this is math. And there's no really wrong answer or really right answer, because it is based on, the best answer is based on how long you're going to live. Which we all shrug our shoulders and go, I don't know. But there's, depending on how you structure the benefits and what you deal with them, it's about a 13-year window that, or in fact 15, can be shorter. But if I was to, I'm going to draw at 62, and I die by the time I'm 75, that I did what I should have done. But if I start drawing at 62 and I live to 95, I should have waited. My total payout would be higher. But it's a matter of, can I afford to wait, and blah, blah, blah. And I've got some clients where they've even said, you know what, I'm still working, but my family life expectancy is, I've already outlived all my family. You know, I'm only 64. I'm just going to draw it, Mike. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to draw it and hand to you. Just invest that for me, and let's see what we can do. Because their thought is, I'd rather store that up and have it for later for my kids getting something, whatever, because I don't think I'm going to hit them. So there's no wrong, and there's no perfect right, because none of us know. Good.
In terms of plugging it in, because if you're still working, you're taking the social, being one of them, you take the social security, you put taxes on it, and then you've got to be able to invest it higher, yeah. How, I'm assuming you have a soccer firm, or I'm taking that book, calculator still, but.
Yes, but I'm so glad you asked that question, because I forgot to mention, full retirement age is when you can draw both and not be tax penalized. Okay? Right now, you can only earn X number of dollars, about $21,000 per year, if you're drawing Social Security, if you haven't met your full retirement age.
That full retirement is 67, because I have 4.5
Exactly.
55 or 59.
Yeah. So
you have to hit that
before you start drawing, if you're earning this much,
you're in more than 21,000.
otherwise they'll start taking back $1 for every two, and you can get to a point where they take it all back. You know, so don't draw early. You know, so there's planning. That's why I said there's some intentionality in this. So,
Then, you know, you've got retirement, the full retirement, 66, 2 months, 10 months, 3, you know, whatever.
yes. Yep. There's a lot to it. And at least I spent a lot of hours on this. I mean, and then the max payout that can be, the absolute max as of 2022 was $41.94 a month. That's if you waited to age 70, earned high the whole time, there's your max payout. Now, this is something worth writing down. It's this simple website, ssa.gov. It's the Social Security Administration.gov. Typically, and they keep, Social Security is like this enigma that I'm constantly trying to chase. What are you doing today? You know, but for a lot of years, you all remember that we would get a Social Security statement every year in the mail, and now they don't. But then once you get over 60, they start sending them again. The last time I checked, maybe. The bottom line is, you can go to ssa.gov. I recommend that you have a snack, a cup of coffee, or something with you, because it is a slow process. But you can register at ssa.gov, get a login, username, password, login. They're going to ask you 47 questions about your history. Did you ever own this car? Did you ever take out a loan from this bank? Did you live in this address? You know, and all because hackers. Social Security is very, very secure. Okay, but once you have a good login and everything, you can go anytime you want and get the update of this is actually my Social Security payout credential. Because every year that you file taxes, they adjust it. You have a new number. Okay? As far as planning purposes go, I encourage people always, just email somebody today and say, hey, if you can, go there, print that off, bring it to me, because I'll just put it in the client file, but every few years I have them get a new one. So it's, like you say, ideally, it's probably going to be a third of your income, is what the intention was. All right, let's keep going here. Challenges facing Social Security benefits. We're living longer. We're challenged. Life expectancy is no longer 61. And the stat that I've been working with clients for years now, if you hit 65, you'll hit 85. Your probability of 85 is really, really high. So you're stuck with me for a while. But that's a great stat. We're living longer. That part's all good. Like I mentioned, 2035 will be the 100th anniversary of Social Security. It also is the year where the current Social Security structure will run out. It will start going into red. Okay? Which means we're also having things exacerbated by we're living longer, birth rates have been declining, the workforce getting smaller. Hey, some good news. Back in what year was it? 2021, the number of births rose for the first time in 7 years. Thank you, COVID. But currently, the Social Security Administration reports there's currently 2.8 workers for every person receiving Social Security. So you guys, you just think about the math with that and say, no, okay. 7% of my income is going in, and that is three of you, less than three. Yeah, we probably got a shortage going, and that's what they're running into. So really what they're looking at doing is they've got all kinds of proposals. What do we do to fix this? And nobody likes any of them. Well, we're going to make you be older before you can actually retire. Because they're talking about moving the 62 age minimum up. That would take care of a lot. And so once again, planning now is a good idea to be prepared for that. They're talking also about increasing the tax rate from 6.2% to 8.1%, and pay them more, taking away the maximum taxable wage base. So currently, Social Security is taxed up to your first $127,000 a year of income. And beyond that, it's not being taxed. And then,
So they're talking about raising that?
yeah, everything's on the table, right? But nothing's been enacted. So
Using that as a welfare retiree.
Yep.
So it reminds me how high they pay. If I were to make $300,000 a year, I'm only paying on the first 147, but you said the max was for 4,100.
It's 41 something a month. And so, yeah, these are all things that they're looking at. And that's where what they're doing, they're somewhat penalizing the higher wage earners of saying, you know what, you probably got a 401k, you probably got a 401k plan, you probably got all this other stuff. So we're going to do that to someone else.
Wow.
Yeah, like I say, everything, unfortunately right now, everything's on the table and nothing's been decided. Because once again, the people that have to make that decision also have to get reelected.
Not to rush it over at half past.
Okay, thank you. I'm about halfway through, so that's good. So this is, I actually just want to wrap up this section with just saying, okay, we can expect to hear a lot more on this in literally the next 12 years. This is going, there's no way around it. This is going to be a hot topic that the can's been kicked down the road for the last few decades. They've been talking about it, but they're going to have to act. So now let's move on to Medicare. Medicare is essentially, Medicare is automatic in action when you turn 65. But it's also available if you are disabled. After a couple of years being on Social Security disability, they're also going to put you on Medicare. So there are some pre-65 Medicare beneficiaries. The Medicare Part A kicks in automatically when you turn 65. Even if you're still working, if you have other health insurance, whatnot, you will suddenly have a Medicare card mailed to you. It's like, I didn't sign up for this. Yeah, you did. When you pay your Social Security tax and your Medicare tax, they know you're 65. Congratulations, you're on Medicare Part A. Okay, Medicare Part A is really about just basic hospital care, some outpatient services with huge deductibles. So if you rely on only Medicare Part A, you're going to pay a lot of money. Part B helps pay for most of the outpatient stuff, the doctor and whatnot, and the monthly premium is deducted from, typically from your Social Security benefits, but if you're not going to Social Security, you sign up for B. I have a couple clients doing this where they're self-employed, they're still working, they don't want to sign up for B because they have health insurance, or maybe they're working for an employer, they don't want B, so they prefer, they're still working here at Summit, they're 68 years old, no, I'm going to stay on this health insurance plan, I don't want to sign up for B. And so they can opt out of B. And you have to make sure you tell them, no, don't sign me up. But if you run into a situation where you're still working, but it's the other way around that I want to address very quickly, is just you could be in a situation where you want Medicare Part A and B, but you've deferred your Social Security. You're saying, hey, I'm on a plan to actually start receiving Social Security benefits when I'm 70, but I do want Part B, then you actually will have to pay Social Security Administration every month, a monthly premium. Okay, so one way or the other, that gets paid. Right now, the Part B premium is $164.90. It just had a $5.10 reduction. Woo! It was $170 last year. Part A and B are original Medicare. Now, does anyone have any specific questions about Medicare? Because I want to, before I dive too deeply into this in the wrong direction, I'd rather dive in the right direction.
I think for me is that there's a very specific deadline. That if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you can penalty for
Thank you for bringing that. You're just asking me that question, because that's not even in my content here. she's talking about, so Medicare has parts A, B, C, and D. And I usually will use, like in my office, I'll use a blackboard to literally written this out because they've done, the federal government has done a fantastic job of creating confusion. Okay? You have parts A, B, C, and D. Then in part C, you can either go the route of a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare supplement plan A, B, C, D, E. But it's plan, not part. So
It could be numbered.
That's confusing.
It could have been numbered.
it can be. So that's, I don't know, like, way to go there. Part B is the prescription drug plan. This is an important thing to know, is if you're 66 years old and still working in some Pacific and on this plan, you don't have to sign up for Part B because this plan satisfies that requirement. Once you retire or no longer covered by a prescription drug plan, you have to sign up for a Part B plan. It could be the lowest coverage, lowest cost one, that's fine. But you have to sign up for one, or when you eventually sign up for something, you'll pay a penalty premium the rest of your life. That's the reason.
We're not sorry.
Yep. So, and there's really two major ways to go with this. There's original Medicare and then Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is considered really an all-in-one alternative. And the way we like to explain this is, okay, if you sign up for a Medicare Advantage, say with Regents Blue Shield, what Medicare is doing is saying, this much you come over there. Well, the great thing is, and then Bill, I need you to join me. Okay? What penalty for being my friend? So Medicare, if Bill says, well, I think I want the Regents Medicare Advantage plan, Zeke is Regents Medicare Advantage plan. Medicare says, okay, Bill, you come over here, you are now with them. We're done. Just while you're enrolled there. Okay, you can come back to us, but the way the billing and everything works, is it works way more as if Bill was still just on a regular PPO plan. Regions pay. It's not the billing and stuff like that through Medicare. If you stay on Medicare and have a Medicare supplement plan, I can have a Medicare supplement plan with Regents. Now I'm still saying, okay, you gotta come through me. They're gonna pay part, we're gonna pay most. And we're still gonna be the gatekeeper control fund. That makes sense? So, thank you.
And even if you cut it, you gotta have keys and the dog, unless you've got some sort of prescription drug that might fall under Medicare Advantage plan.
Yes. Yes. Most of the Advantage plans have Part B built into them. There is one that Regents offers that's for those, for military veterans, for those on VA, and they have VA covered, VA is covered Part B, and they don't. So there's a little carve out to it, but it's just one of those things. You're bringing up a very good point. Make sure you have the Part B plan might only be $12 if you sign up at the right time, but if you wait for 2 or 3 years, that same plan might be $32.
If you only have 3 months after your birthday,
3. If 3 months prior and after, you have
county, is that once you retire, start collecting Social Security?
So if you're still on a medical plan, so if you're still working for the hospital, under the hospital's health care, you can defer getting on Medicare until you either retire or you choose to drop your current health care plan. But as soon as you lose that health care plan, either through retirement or you willingly dropping it, you have a 3-month window of the month before you lose coverage, the month you lose coverage, and the month after. You have to be enrolled in Medicare at that time frame. If you do not, then you're going to still have Medicare Part A, but you won't be able to add Part B,
So you won't be able to add one of the,
Part C, or D. You can still get Part B, but you'd have to wait for open enrollment for Part C or D, and then you would have the penalty on Part B.
open enrollment every year for Medicare. It's October 17th, 15th through December 7th. Is the open enrollment window, and you can change plans. In this state, you can change plans guaranteed during that time. Now, here's another quick factor. With Part B, you have that premium that you're going to pay, and it's $164.90 unless your income's higher. It can go all the way up to the $560 a month premium. I've got some high net worth clients where they're like, Mike, how come I'm paying $500 for Medicare Part B? Congratulations.
You're valuable. Stop doing well.
So that's, and it's one of those things where, well, you're already halfway towards just putting yourself back on your company plans, so you might want to just go there anyway and skip Part B. So there's several planning things involved here, I guess, I just want you to be aware.
So one additional thing is, no matter what, if you're on Medicare plan, you're going to be paying for Part B. From there, you then can get Part C and D. That would be an additional premium pull. No, even if you go with the Medicare Advantage plan, you still have to pay for Part B, and then the Advantage plan adds on.
Thank you, Lee. That's important. If I'll just reiterate it, if you're going to sign up for either a Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement, either one, you have to be enrolled in D first. So it's a little bit of a plan thing. Now, in our handout, you'll see that we put the phone number, the toll-free phone number for the Medicare hotline, because we're covering a lot of material in a very short amount of time, and you're going to go, okay, well, what about blah, 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 and Medicare.gov or the Medicare hotline, great resources to just go through some of those things.
Have a cup of coffee.
Yep.
It'll take a while.
Now, there's one more thing here. With, let's get out, health savings account. I'm just going to touch on this briefly. The health savings account is only available if you're in a high deductible health plan, high deductible insurance plan. But if you are, these can be a very effective tool where you can help this high deductible health plan and still put $38.50 away every year into my HSA, or $77.50 a year for the family. And if I'm over 55, I can add $1,000 to that. So it's a way to pre-tax fund a health savings account. It becomes a pool of money that you never paid taxes on, okay? And you never will pay taxes on it if you use it for medical needs.
Does it carry over to the next year?
Yes. So, no, but does pay deductibles, co-insurance, etc. Just another tip, if you have access, let's say your spouse is a government employee, or you work for the school district or something like that, if they have a VIVA option, if you've ever heard of that, definitely take advantage of it, because VIVA dollars can be used to pay for Medicare supplement and advantage plan. So just ways to strategically do this. I like HSAs and things like that when they work, because it's literally, I can use pre-tax dollars and never pay tax on them. You know, I use it correctly. Jump in Medigap. Why Medigap is a Medicare supplement. And, now, I wrote them for over 20 years here in Grace Harbor County because we didn't have a Medicare Advantage fund available until just 3 years ago. Okay? In this county, in the zip code. So that's what we had. Now, over 90% of our clients are Medicare Advantage. But occasionally, we still have people that go down to Medicare supplement. The big thing that people like about it, no co-pays. There's a one-time deductible per year, $100. After that, it is covered. Okay? But no vision coverage, no hearing, no dental. There's a few things like that. And there are starting to be a narrower window of physicians that will take Medicare supplement because it pays them lower than Medicare Advantage. So oftentimes what we will do when we're working with a client is, let's just talk to your doctor real quick, or let's look at your doctor and see which one they prefer. And 9 times out of 10, the doctor, I'll keep them as a patient with Medicare Advantage for now with supplement. So there's something to know. But if you're shopping for Medicare supplement, a really good resource is just the Washington State Insurance Commissioner's website. If you go to that website and just click up on one of the top toolbars is Medicare, and it has tons of information, and they literally post every Medicare supplement provider in the state of Washington, every company, and the prices. It's just great. So it's how we help our clients shop for coverage. You know, at Regions, it's 207, and Primera, it's 208. And but over here, it's 196. Well, why don't we do that one? Well, maybe rate stability, blah, blah, blah. But matter of who wants it.
The numbers were not accurate.
Yeah. Yes. All right, protecting your identity, kind of a straightforward concern, okay? Identity theft is a real issue nowadays, and unfortunately, in the senior community, you've got elder abuse at the highest level of this. My mom is 82, she gets phone calls, she gets like, Bob, don't click on that. No, don't answer that, you know. Well, they said, no. Okay. Identity thieves can get your social security number and other personal information in a number of different ways. And there's too many. One of the worst is the dark web. It's become an industry of its own. And we're looking at almost 1 in 10 people that are victims of this. You can try the best you can to prevent it, but there's not always a true prevention. Don't carry your social security number around with you at all. Okay, don't do that. Don't have it out there. There are certain websites that Just a simple thing to understand, if you're shopping online, look for the HTTPS. S means secure. Okay. Also, don't purchase or look at your bank statement or something like that in a coffee shop on an open Wi-Fi. Okay. If you're using free Wi-Fi, don't do anything with your sensitive data. You can play Candy Crush with free Wi-Fi. Do. But be careful with open free Wi-Fi and use antivirus stuff. Another, just a simple thing that I encourage people to do, use Experian or Credit Karma or one of the free credit scoring things to actually monitor and look at the credit periodically.
Because that was 36 months.
I look at mine every month. Yep. And at least quarterly, because I'll give you, for instance, my credit score dropped almost 100 points last month. And that's what I look for. I'm like, what happened? Well, I just had a perfect storm where I had two different mortgage companies, like two of the mortgages I have, sold the mortgage to another carrier. And so for that month, it looked like I had 4 mortgages instead of 2. You know, I dropped my score. All I wanted to make sure is, or is there a new account that got open that I'm not aware of? So it's worth looking at that kind of stuff. You have to look for it and be proactive. I encourage some of our elder community, hey, ask your kid for help. Okay, I do.
All it takes is one click on a link and make that everything. Especially if you have your password saved on your phone or on your computer. Those are very fast.
So don't be afraid to ask a child, a friend, somebody, an employer, your banker. Oftentimes has resources available, but if you think you're getting scammed, ask for help. Okay, don't sit there and try to fix it on your own. Ask for help. And again, the Social Security Administration will invite that phone call. Call them if you think somebody's got your Social Security number. Okay.
Also, one more thing. If you ever get an email saying your password is exposed or anything like that from a website, don't deal with it through that email. Always go to the website itself, contact support, anything like that, because that's one of the scam options. They'll get a web handle that's similar to the website, and they'll just send those out in mass. And it'll look like it came from them, but it's not actually from the website.
We have to do a lot of training on phishing scams. In my industry, it's an elaborate thing now, where you get an email from one of your known clients. It's got their email address. And hey, Mike, I've got laryngitis. I can't really talk right now, but you know, my niece is in trouble. I need wires and money, so I need to go to this. And so we don't move money or do anything without talking to the client. Like, I want to hear your laryngitis voice. You know. But identitytheft.gov is also an actual government website to help with this. Let me wrap up here. Your financial well-being in retirement. Some of the most important things you can do, like I already said, is take initiative, do a little bit of planning and preparation. It's amazing when I get clients that come and they'll say, hey, I'm only 5 years away from retirement. Is it too late? I'm like, no, please. You can do so much. Every year that we have pre-retirement, we can do more. okay? But just talking through some simple things like 401Ks. Well, the maximum contribution limits have gone up actually. The Secure Act 2.0, they raised those up. You could do $22,500 a year with a $7,500 catch-up if you're over 50. That's $30,000 a year if you're over 50 into your 401K. And there's times where it's like, no, we're going there. Because if your employer offers a match into a 401K, at least it's a match. You know, our clients say, well, I don't really, I like what you're doing better than what they're offering in the 401K. What I'm doing is not paying 100% return on your money. So get the match first, and we can talk others elsewhere. Okay. So this simple on the 401K, same thing on like your IRAs. Those limits have gone up $6,500 a year or $7,500 if you're over 50. There's Roth 401Ks or Roth IRAs. That's just something where give them the nerve and help them understand what should I be doing. You know, people, I need to know what you know. Like, you don't want to know what I know because you have to be a nerd like me. Just you're the nerd like me. But here's a couple of just takeaways of being prepared. Is just start planning. The sooner the better. Go to SSA.gov. Get that login. Okay. Keep up to date on Medicare and Social Security benefits so you know where you're at on things. Watch for identity theft if you don't need that setback. Almost setback, you can recover from it, but it's just a setback. Okay? And then just plan diligently and wisely. So, especially those of you that are watching this later, I'm hoping that they'll put something on the website on include my information. So you can write this down. If you want more information, contact us. We're 6 blocks away. No. We're close. Okay. But if you just send us an email and say, hey, I think I'd like to connect with you, that's an easy way to do it. Our email addresses actually have our scheduling links in them. And so you can just go on there, click, and see when our next opening is and look at it. We can do phone, Zoom, or in person. But definitely, I hope that giving you enough information to just work with and chew on here and be aware of. These are some of the things I need to be planning for. Any other questions?
What's the cost of the?
Zero. We always do an initial complimentary consult period. We're happy to guide you into whatever you do. Okay. We are a financial advisor. We are a fiduciary. So that means we're going to do what's good for you. Period. Okay.
I'm still listening to this on part B and take one question on it.
Yeah.
Part B is automatically taken out when you turn 65 as well?
No.
You have to sign up for it. Lately, they have been making a weird little switch where it triggers for some people, it doesn't trigger for others, where they will automatically start Part B if you're already taking Social Security deductions. But if you're not taking deductions already, it is something you have to call in and sign up for, and they'll tell you how much you're going to be paying into it, and then they'll send you your updated card, all of that.
So some of the most recent, remember when I said when you turn 65, you're going to get your Medicare card? I've seen 2 different ways happen in the same year, where a client receives their card with a note note and says, if you want to opt in to Part B, let us know. The other client, hey, we already opted you into B, if you don't want it, let us know.
Because if you don't want to pay the premium for Medicare Part B, that can go to Medicare.
Correct.
But the decision point is your Medicare insurance, A, will they take it, and B, the premium versus Medicare Part B auto as.
So Medigap, Medicare supplement is a Medigap, will only work if you're in Part B, if you're signed up for B.
So you can have a double hit on premium.
Correct.
Yeah. So with the reason we've moved away from Medicare and moved towards Advantage is Advantage plans are generally more affordable. They have a lower premium and you're not as hard of a hit. Medigap is really good on locking in exactly how much you could expect to pay in a year, because you're going to pay this much in premium and you're going to pay this much in your deductible, and then you're done. But with Medicare Advantage, you have a larger deductible, but a generally lower premium, and it costs over the year, because if you're not expecting to have all these different treatments throughout the year, if it's just a year, you might just see the doctor. That's a $10 copay. It's a much lower cost on a general year. If you have a heavy usage year, you may pay more than a Medicare plan. It's really, again, that little gamble of how much am I going to use it. So if you know you have treatment, we could have it open enrollment, you have Medicare Advantage. Well, next year I have all these different treatments I need to do. That open enrollment, you make the switch over to Medigap, and then do all your treatments. The following year, you don't have those treatments, you switch back over to Medicare Advantage.
Does your payment come out of Social Security or come out of?
It depends. If you are taking Social Security deductions, you can, with different carriers, based off the carrier, you can have it all paid directly from your Social Security. Or you can move to what's called an EFT, electric fund transfer, which they would pull directly from your bank account. Either way.
If,
Either way, still, when people do Medicare, you're always going to have that Medicare Part B premium home.
Yes.
No matter whether you add Medigap or not.
so if you're still working here and on this plan, you can opt out of B. And this plan satisfies your Part B as well. So there are those times. I was gonna mention, if you do want to talk to us, please leave this. Give us your name, contact information, leave that with us. This one, I probably want to take that with you. Got some good resources. So, did we satisfy your questions on that?
Well, and my husband's working at the time, I'm not yet. So we're trying to figure out, I know enough to be dangerous. So,
Is she on your medical plan? Okay. Does she have his own sort of employer group? Okay. So with that, up until the point where he loses that coverage, he, like, how old? So if he is still working over age 65, he's going to get a Medicare card. It's going to be just Part A. He'll have to call in and add Part B. Until then, it's not going to be pulling premium. But when he makes the phone call, that's when they would start pulling the premium. And you'll want to, because like this was said before, if you're just Part A, no other medical plan, and you have an event happen, you're going to be paying a lot. You have high deductibles, high health insurance, all of it. And then if you have Part B, it lets you open up to being able to pull managed plan supplement, as a Part B as well. But you need to have Part B to be able to get.
I would encourage you, just call us.
Yeah.
Yeah.